So we're at the end of 2022. I'm going to ask Prime Creator if we can get a forecast for 2023 and then probably just for January as well. So we will see what comes through. We will begin with January, dear ones, as there will be a significant shift in what is occurring on your planet and how things unfold. Because of the collective energy creation of a new year, because of how the collective works together and how people are programmed with looking at the calendar and seeing January as the beginning of a new year, there are so many people in the collective who are tired of what's been going on, who want a fresh start. And this collective desire of this fresh start will propel humans and planet Earth into a brand new frequency. To some degree, this is already occurring, but there will be a significant bump in energy, so to speak, a significant raise in frequency for January. What this means for January of 2023 is that the energy will be lighter. Things will not feel as dense. There will be a clearness, a cleanness to the energy. Now, there will still be the unfolding and dismantling of the old paradigms, the old matrices, but it will feel lighter to the vast majority of people. And this lightness, in turn, will provide momentum for the changes, for disclosure, for things that will happen in your year of 2023. Also occurring in January will be a new stream of energy coming to planet Earth. And while humanity and Earth is used to new streams of energy coming in, this one will be especially potent and direct, as it is coming from your great central sun through your sun that you associate with planet Earth. If the sun seems brighter, appears whiter, and less yellow, it is because of this new stream of energy. Most of you will be able to see this and experience this. This channel is asking what effect this energy stream will have on humanity. It will have a calming effect because the energy is so clean and clear, because it will help people awaken and see more clearly. Because it is associated with your ascension process, your soul journey. It will feel very, very crisp, very clear. It will bring clarity to the minds and hearts of humanity. It will also connect directly with the core of your planet Earth, which means that there will be a significant increase in frequency of the planet. While she is already vibrating quite high, there will be a jump in her frequency as well, as this energy stream will reverberate throughout all of her layers. This will also help in the cleanup of nefarious activities that have been taking place under the surface of your planet. So the energies of January will set the stage, create momentum for the rest of your year, as there will be a reset in the energies, as I have just described. It will enable the rest of the year to hold more light. And so the disclosure that you have anticipated will unfold with more momentum. There is more potential for spontaneous healing of the physical body. More humans will awaken. And if you think you are already awake, you will experience even more awakening on your journey. There will be more heart energy, which means that hearts will be more open to see the truth, to experience the light. The energy will be more centered at the heart of humanity. This will allow for more and deeper collaboration with light workers. This is a grounded energy in a sense, because the light will be grounded into the hearts of humanity. And so projects and visions that have been on the back burner will gain more momentum. And less interference by the shadow will be less sustained, because the heart energy will grow. Now, the nefarious ones have been attempting to sabotage your heart energies. They have been attempting to access the wisdom that is contained within the human heart, but they have not been successful. Even as I am speaking, perhaps you feel an expansion within your heart. It would be wise, dear ones, to do many heart meditations in your year of 2023 to strengthen the power of your hearts, to strengthen the light and the ability to flow and contain the light within your hearts. You will begin to see more justice unfolding. Those who have been acting in nefarious ways, some of them will be brought to justice. Probably not all in this year, as there are many, but a few key players that will send shock waves and ripple effects across the planet as a warning, as a tool for awakening the collective. Some of these people are in your governments and in 3-letter agencies. And so you will begin to see the process of justice starting to take hold. Those who work for the shadow will continue to attempt to control humanity, but their attempts will not be as sustained as they have been in the past. They will continue to try to put humanity in fear by trying to generate new pandemics and releasing new viruses and new health scares and things of this nature. But for the vast majority of humanity, their attempts will not be able to be sustained long term. These plans are beginning to fall apart, dear ones. This is very good news indeed. And only those within the collective that continue to believe their narrative will be affected in negative ways. This channel is asking if those who have received the shots and who have been going along with the narrative, what will happen to their bodies? What will happen to their souls? Dear ones, despite much info coming out about souls being compromised, the souls are still intact. Yes, there has been some separation of the soul from the body, but this is reversible. This will require much work on the part of the human that has gone through this experience to reclaim their soul, to rejoin their soul with their bodies. But this is possible. And at a physical level, please remember, dear ones, that the human body is remarkable. It is remarkable technology, and it can restore itself given the proper tools. That is all I will say about this for now, dear ones, but know that this is possible.
I wanted to ask if artificial intelligence or other topics are a thing we have to clear for the future, because I think we all have to clear things which were going the false way in our galaxy. And I know that in some parts of the galaxy there were bad things with happening with artificial intelligence, and it's our, I think, job to clear these bad things. So
yes, dear one. I would not use the word clear, but I understand what you are saying, dear one. It is important that you envision, that you feel, see, sense, and know that whatever technology is being rolled out, that it is used for the light and for beneficial purposes. The technology is here. It is not going away, and it can be used for shadow or for light. So if you, in your mind's eye, in your heart, can envision and feel and sense and know that these technologies are serving the light, then you can turn the agenda around. More and more beings within humanity will start to understand the potential of this technology and how it can be used to serve the light. And it is important that there is a collective creation effort to switch the polarity of AI and other technologies like this that might be used to sabotage the ascension process or attempt to sabotage the light. And I will state again, dear ones, that it is not possible to sabotage the ascension process. It is not possible to change the trajectory of what is occurring with humanity and planet Earth. Planet Earth and humanity are ascending. You are moving into the photon belt. You are moving into the golden age. This is the alignment at the universal level. And so while attempts can be made to try to lessen the number of souls that go through this, the actuality is that this process is occurring.
This energy from the sun, from the central sun, coincides with a lot of what people, S.A. Smith was talking about. It sounds very much like the solar flash, and the timing is basically around Christmas, New Year's. So it sounds very interesting. S.A. Smith talked about a clarion call, which is like hearing bells or hearing trumpets about 4 hours before this event happens, and then we go to sleep for a couple hours. So I'm asking, is this possibly going to happen? I would love it to happen, but is it possibly going to happen that people will hear bells or something before this energy is released? Thank you.
It is possible that it could happen in this way and that some would hear something like this, but I would like to plant the seed that this event that people talk about is not a blip in time and space as it has been discussed. It is happening now. The energies are happening now. The energies will gain momentum. They will culminate. But it is happening now. The event is happening now. And so instead of anticipating something or waiting for a sound to come from the sky, it is important to understand, dear ones, that these energies are in motion now. They are coming to your planet Earth now. And yes, you will continue to have new streams of energies arriving. But if you are looking for a sudden blast in energy that changes everything suddenly on planet Earth, it is not likely to happen in this way, dear ones. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. But humanity is not equipped to deal with this. And so being on the Ease and Grace timeline, we are working with humanity to unfold in a way that humans can receive and integrate.
there are movie clips out there where animals supposedly for days running in circles, like sheep, deers, and other ones. What is happening there?
Dear ones, these beings are experiencing the change of energies coming to planet Earth. Animals are much more connected to nature, and so they have a more acute sense of what is occurring. And so they are feeling some of the energies that are here and some of the energies that are coming. They are also feeling something like a pole shift within planet Earth. This is not a full and complete pole shift, but there are adjustments being made in the core of Mother Earth, and they are feeling this. All is well, dear ones. The animals are okay. They are simply bringing you messages.
I don't know whether you talked about background people before. I was in a Zoom last week where we talking about that lots of businesses now, the employees just don't show up for work, they quit or they can't get any people for work. And then the term background people came up, like in the movies. If you have a scene like in a restaurant, there are lots of people sitting around just in the background doing nothing. It was said about background people too. They are more just for them in the matrix. They were not really alive or have souls and so on. Can you tell something about it, about background people? Are they real?
Yes, we have discussed this before, dear ones. There are some human bodies that are somewhat separated from soul. It is not as common as it used to be in the traditional sense, but there are now more of these humans because those who have been influenced by mRNA technology, by taking the shots, these beings are still humans. They still have a soul, but they are experiencing a disconnection. And you can sometimes look into their eyes and see or feel a disconnection, a blankness. They feel more zombie-like. And as I say this, dear ones, there is no judgment whatsoever. As I speak this, I am simply explaining that what has happened with many of these humans is a purposeful disconnection from their soul, an attempt to harvest soul energy, an attempt to feed the shadow forces. As I mentioned earlier, this can be reversed. So there are not as many background people, as you call them, as there used to be, but there is a new wave, so to speak, a new way that humans have been influenced to become more like that. Most of the humans that are on the planet now have come here with soul connection, soul being intact, because many beings that are here now, most beings that are here now, are here to support the ascension. So the the observers, so to speak, were not allowed to come in.
Oh, yeah. I wondered with what you said earlier, Prime Creator, and what's going on in the background, how much longer will we have to wait for things to come forward and it will be clear to most folks about these changes that have been in process?
This is still a several year process, the timeline that we are on now. In other words, you will see much disclosure getting started this year. But remember that some of what has been occurring is so dark that if it were to be released all at once, many humans would suffer greatly with the information. And so we need to start with things that humans are able to assimilate and integrate. And as humans become more aware, more awake, they will be able to receive more of the disclosure. Currently, the timeline that we are on is by around 2027, most things will be known. Keep in mind, dear ones, that this can shift. The timing is very malleable. I'm just giving you an idea of where we are now, and this can change. So, as always, do not become attached. Allow and accept what is occurring now while you continue to focus on your creations of light.
The Zoom meeting last night it went on for 4.5 hours. First 260 people, at the end about 150 people were left. It was going about sending letters to a postmaster in the United States and the generals from the Army, Navy, and so on, and commanding them to stop that organ harvesting, putting human cells and so on into the food chain, investigating everything, make it publish what companies and people are involved, and seize their assets and so on. And what effect would have that letter when 150 people sent that out, and it were to command them like as a sovereign people, as gods, and so on? What effect would that have?
Dear one, it would need to be much more than 100 people. It would need to pass a threshold where so many people couldn't be targeted or tracked. In other words, if only 100 people do this, it brings attention to them, and in some ways, they put a target on their back. But if 1 million people did this, this would be much harder to track. This would be much more difficult to pinpoint each individual who did this. And so it would need to be a massive number in order for this to be safe and effective. If 100 people did this, it would have some effect, yes, but it could backfire. It is not quite the time for people to put their necks on the line like this unless they know how to work multidimensionally to keep themselves safe. So there are humans like this on planet Earth that could do this, but they would need to most definitely have the knowledge about how to work multidimensionally, so that even if they are targeted, it would not have any effect on them.
So I guess you wouldn't recommend to send that letter for me?
This is something that each being would need to feel into for themselves.
Prime Creator, you talked earlier about for this year it was important to meditate and be in your heart more and practice being in your heart more. Do you have additional information you can share or more details on the exercises to do that will help us to stay in our hearts more and to make more of an impact? Thank you.
Beautiful question, dear one. Thank you. So much of this is intention, dear ones. Set your intention to be heart-centered. Set your intention to be grounded within your heart. Take a few minutes each day to breathe into your heart, to place a hand on your heart, and to acknowledge your heart space. Also to acknowledge your physical heart. Your physical heart is connected to your energetic and etheric hearts, and so it is important to acknowledge your physical heart as well. When you go into nature, set your intention to connect your heart with the heart of nature. And again, breathe into your heart. The breath can activate more energy within your heart. Ask yourself, how does it feel to connect my soul essence with my heart? How does it feel to activate my heart with my soul essence? How does it feel to expand my heart? How does it feel to flow more energy through my heart? How does it feel to contain more energy in my heart? These questions, dear ones, will elicit the answers and more energy into and through your heart. I thank you, dear ones. When you work with your heart in this way, it is also then important to ground your energy into the core of Mother Earth. Because that much energy in one space within your physical and energy bodies can pull you out of balance. And so it is important also to ground when you work with these energies. And remember, we had a conversation about different ways of grounding, so you can go back and refer to that conversation if the traditional grounding no longer works for you. Go ahead and ask your question, dear one.
Yes, thank you. And this is going off of the heart energy, at least now for me, thinking I don't ever watch anything to do with drama or gossip in the news, but I was really drawn to watch the documentary on Harry and Meghan. And I know that we should just all stay in our hearts and send love to everyone. But I'm curious as to what the agenda is for them, if they have one, and what will happen because of this, if anything.
Well, the agenda was for them to perpetuate the shadow acts being executed through the royal family. But they did not want to participate, and so they extricated themselves. So there will be a time when they will have when it will be safe for them to have their voice, to share some disclosure if they choose. This channel is asking if they are serving the light. Yes, in a manner of speaking, but not so directly. That opportunity will be given to them, again, if they choose. It is not so black and white as if they are serving the light or the shadow. They simply did not want to be part of the very darkness that has been occurring in the royal family. Does this answer your question, dear one?
Do they know the full darkness, or do they only know a glimpse of it? Or
They know about 90%.
wow.
Yes, this answers my question. Thank you.
There is something else that needs to be said about disclosure, dear ones, and this is regarding human trafficking, sex trafficking. This is something that will be coming more and more into the light in the next 2 years. And so I am asking you, dear ones, to hold the light for this in your hearts. Meaning to visualize the children being set free, to visualize the perpetrators being brought to justice, and to do this in 0 point energy as much as possible. Dear ones, I know that some of you are angry. I know that some of you are frustrated. But it is vitally important to bring your energy back to 0 point, back to neutrality. That is the only way that this works. Otherwise, the shadow energies can be amplified and using your anger to feed themselves. So it is important to bring yourself back to neutrality and 0 point as much as possible when you visualize justice occurring. This issue is much deeper and darker than you may understand. And so it is important that this comes into the light. And it will be difficult for many in humanity to integrate. And that is why it is taking so long, dear ones. For those of you who are hearing this message before the end of 2022, there is an important portal day coming up with your solstice. I invite you, dear ones, to take some time to meditate, to pray, to put into creation the desires of your heart, the desires of your soul. This is a magnificent opportunity to infuse your body with light, to bring more light to planet Earth and to humanity. So take some time to focus on integrating more light, being more light, flowing more light through you and to other humans, and to the core of Mother Earth, and to the animals. Allow the light to come, dear ones. Allow the light. I thank you, dear ones.